juice, I reckon. Let's have a go at that. Maybe even there. See what that does. Hello. Hey, everyone. Hopefully it's not too much hiss now I've gained it up a bit. Should tune that, shouldn't I? Nothing worse than an out of tune guitar. Sounds like it's gripping in the nut too. It's gripping in the nut. I know what it is about nylon string guitars, but man, they're the worst for staying in tune when you put new strings on. I put a new set of strings on about a week ago, and I'll play the guitar for a few hours, and then I come back to it like a day later, and it slipped. And they slip less and less over time the more you play it, but it's like, it seems to be a thing. I'm just going to check that that's all coming through good on my phone, on YouTube's. Just thought I'd jump on here. I'm just learning the music for this show that I've got coming up, which is the music of Stardew Valley, which is a video game. I didn't know the video game myself. It's a new one to me. Although I did play the soundtrack to it a year ago on YouTube's. There we go. I played the soundtrack to it a year ago. We did a concert in Wellington with a chamber orchestra. There was a 20-piece chamber orchestra, which is quite unusual. No screen behind us, anything like that to do with the video game. It was literally just us playing with a chamber orchestra on stage, and these people going nuts over the music. It was crazy. Never seen anything like it. And so I checked out the game afterwards. I didn't really know it before that. But, it's hugely popular. Like the dude that wrote the music wrote the game as well. Sold 30 million copies of the game. That's crazy. So he's a wealthy man. So the way I'm doing this at the moment, what I do when I play acoustic guitar is I run the DI, so it has a pickup out of it, and I just set everything flat on here. Or maybe I've got the treble down a little bit. No, it's flat. It's a little indent, so you can tell when you're at the right spot. So I run the acoustic guitar through, and I'm running through the fractal with nothing but a reverb. And then I've got a microphone there as well, because the microphone sounds way better. And microphones wise, which is what I use for all these videos, I have this microphone here, and it is an AKG 351, 451, whatever, a vintage mic. I've got a pair of them, a little pencil condenser. I like them because they're nice and lightweight, and I can have it hanging over my computer without worrying about it falling on the computer or anything. And then the fractal, just a touch more for reverb than anything else. Because I find without reverb it's just not that appealing. So yeah, so I was just learning up the music, and I can show you all how what it looks like. There we go. Is that gonna work? You're gonna get a lot of glare, but you can kind of see it, right? You can't see it at that angle, but if I put it like that, you can see it. So you see there, I wrote the chords above a couple of bits, right? I remember someone who's a session guitar player from London who I know a little bit, super cool guy, Adam Goldsmith, does a lot of the shows in the UK. That dude plays with everyone. I remember him saying once to me, or something, yeah, it was in the interview thing I did on my YouTube channel. He said, don't be a hero, just write the chords in. And it's always stuck with me, so now I do. But the part is this, right? you might hear a part like that and think, oh, that's kind of simple and easy, right? But even something simple like that becomes really hard when you have to watch a conductor as well, because there'll be no drum kit in this. It'll be, chamber orchestra. So last time we did it, we had a 20-piece orchestra. This time we have a bigger orchestra. I think there's 35 this time around. So that'll be cool. Is this coming through? Assume it is. Yep. Hope you're hearing everything okay. Let me know in the chat. So we'll have a 35-piece orchestra, which will be cool. And you have to get into the habit of doing the split screen thing, where you're reading music, but you're splitting your eyes to watch the conductor, right? Because the conductor will be going like this, right? And something like that's in 3 is a little different than it typically would be when you conduct in 4, but it's similar, right? So when you conduct in 4/4, what you do is you go downbeat for 1, inside for 2, outside for 3, and up for 4, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, right? But if you conduct in 3, it's like 1 inside and up, right? So it's like half of it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hopefully this is coming through okay. 3. So you have to watch that while playing, and that's where it gets tricky, right? Because you have to follow the conductor. You can't just play it wherever you want. Although in saying that, there are parts that are just in time, and you can kind of go, okay, well, for this bit, I'm just going to listen to what's going on around me and have a general sense of the conductor. So you don't have to watch them. You don't have to be fully watching them the whole time. You just have your split peripheral vision going on. And that's when things like that, something real... Of course, you have to play it with a nice tone, no buzzy notes. And I'm kind of between two minds if I should do it with my pick or with fingerstyle. I actually think the pick sounds better in that instance. So there will be bits where I'll be playing like that, and some of it, there are chord bits, and then there's this next one here, which is Season Symphony Spring from the game, and I got this to play. Off the screen on my iPad. So on, right? Whatever it does after the page after that. But you see, so my whole process is I'm going to go through, I'm going to write in whatever I can, because it just saves me time, especially if it's something really high or whatever, like up in these sort of registers. Like my whole thing of preparation for any of these sorts of gigs is like, don't leave anything to chance, right? Like, make sure just get your shit down, right? Like, that's kind of it. So I'm actually playing 2 concerts with 2 different orchestras. They're actually touring me for the New Zealand leg of it, and we're doing Wellington and Auckland. And in Wellington we're playing with Orchestra Wellington, and then Auckland playing with the Auckland Philharmonic. So I'll be doing both of those. And there's an Australian leg. I'd love to do that, but I don't know. It won't be happening though. I think Australia's happening before New Zealand, but it'd be nice to. It's been a long time since I've been to Australia. I always just want to play bossa novas when I play this guitar, you know what I mean? That's what I meant to play. Yeah, it's funny, this is not an expensive guitar. It wasn't that expensive. And there's lots of these melodies like this where I have to play like the main bit where I've got... And then here it says it's notated as they want me to play the second melody, which I guess means kind of dip my part in behind. Lots of stuff in 3 so far. You know, it's a lot of that sort of stuff. So there's a theme that I obviously have the main part for. You know, hey Nick, how you doing? Is this yes, Nick Granville, Kiwi Monster Life. Oh, thank you, dude. Would love to stay, but it's 11:59 in the UK. Oh, yeah, it is getting late, isn't it? A 4-year-old daughter just woke up and a cold, so daddy duty night shift activated. Sounding great on nylon. Bossa. Oh man, cheers. I hope your daughter feels better soon. My daughter's homesick too. It's school holidays here in New Zealand. First week of school holidays, and she was meant to go and stay with my auntie, who's her great auntie, and the poor kid got to ring me up a few hours later and said, "I feel really sick. Can you come and pick me up?" So it was like, yeah, man. I wish I was coming to Australia, Aaron. I'd really love to do the Australian leg of that gig, but I'm only doing Wellington and Auckland. But you never know. I've had that before where I've done gigs and they've liked it and they've said, hey, can you jump across and do this? Usually what happens is I can't do it, right? Like usually if they ask you at the last minute, you've got other stuff you can't get out of. I just changed the strings on this guitar so they'll be slipping a bit, which let me check and see. That was pretty close. Yeah, pretty close. Wish I was coming to Australia. It's been a long time. And then there's some strumming patterns and stuff like that. There's a whole lot of banjo. It was funny, I was talking to Glenn Evans, who makes pickups here. He's made me a pickup for the Strat. I'm going to put a new pickup in that Strat. That one. And a humbucker in the bridge because I really want it. And I said to him, I'll be up in Auckland next month. Doing a gig with the APO, Auckland Philharmonic, and he said, oh cool, and I said, do you want some tickets? And he goes, oh yeah, and I said, I'm playing acoustic guitar and banjo, and he goes, no thanks. As soon as I said banjo, he went, no thanks. Oh, thanks, Aaron. Yeah, so Aaron says, Stardew Valley is an incredibly popular video game and indie success story. Yeah, it wasn't one I knew before I played that first concert. Was it a year ago, 2 years ago? And we did it with a chamber orchestra, 20-piece chamber orchestra. So I didn't realize how popular the game was, and then found out when we did the gig, and it was like, whoa. Someone proposed to his girlfriend during that concert. We knew that was coming, but it was still like, man, I never had that before. And people were yahooing there. It's like almost like they thought they were going to see like a rock concert or something, you know. And thanks for the offer of the spare room, man. It's I'll take you up on that if I ever get over there. But the thing is, like, usually for gigs like that, I insist they pay for ACOM. Like, it's not worth me doing the gig if they don't. Do you know what I mean? It's because it becomes a hassle for everyone else. And basically with ACOM, for me, if I'm playing out of Wellington, the ACOM needs to be walking distance from the venue. I had a gig a few years back, and they booked this in this ACOM that was a half an hour drive out of the city from where we were. Pain in the ass, because we had the gig the gig was in the city, and then we had like 2 hours break. You know, normally you just walk back to the turn that guy off, and then you'd walk back to your hotel and kind of just have a bit of chill out time, right? No, not if it's a half-hour drive. The half-hour drive, but half hour there, half hour back to come back to the gig. There's an hour of your 2 hour break gone. Everyone was mad as heck about it. So it's almost always like, right, you provide ACOM and right next to the venue. Usually costs them more money because that's the more expensive ACOM. But if I was over there doing my own gig, then for sure. But also my brother-in-law lives in. I have heaps of family in Australia. Brother-in-law's in Melbourne. My wife's cousin and auntie are in Sydney. My uncle is in Perth. I have a cousin about 2 hours south of Perth. Who else do we have in Brisbane? I've got a bunch of dear friends, so it's sort of, I'm mostly covered if I had to. But it would really only be my gigs. But Leon Todd mentioned the other day about the Melbourne Guitar Festival apparently is in Sydney this year. How does that work? The Melbourne Guitar Festival in Sydney. But I'd love to come to that. One does. How are you, mate? Thanks for joining in. Yeah, that's awesome. Aaron says, random question, what's the name of the bay your house overlooks? We're in Island Bay in Wellington. So Island Bay is a suburb on the south coast. So it's not the southernmost point of the North Island, but it's getting pretty close to it. Man, you should come across and come and see a gig. I can hear the piezo pickup in this. I wish what I could do, I could turn up the reverb, like heaps, like that much, and then turn down that input, and that would get me the same. Bring it down a bit more. No, I haven't got it quite right. So what I'm doing is I'm blending the pickup. Yeah, that sounds better. Just sounds better with the microphone on this guitar, and particularly if I can get it closer, which I can't at the moment. Aaron says, never been to New Zealand. Oh man, you got to come. It's a beautiful place. Like, it's really, I mean, I'm biased because this is where I'm from, but I've traveled a lot around the world to various countries and things, and man, it's just a beautiful place. There's things that drive me nuts about New Zealand, but the environment here is definitely pretty special. So largely untouched, especially in the South Island. Dude, you got to come over and go to the South Island, which is not where I live, but it's it's a couple of hours on a ferry or an hour on a plane, and you're in this untouched, beautiful place with massive big mountains and lakes and nice wide neck and really flat. I like it though. It's really easy for fingerstyle, like something like that. That would be hard on electric because of the distances for your fingers to get there. Missing now. I might have gone too far on that. Yeah, I really like the bit of reverb on it. Yeah, so it means learning this music, it's kind of challenging, What else have I got in here that I can show you that might be a bit more use? Some of it's kind of really simple, but as always with this stuff, like as always with this stuff, it's about like nailing it, right? You can't really, you don't go in and like almost get the part, right? Like that's the gig is, and especially with a conductor, because the conductors, man, I've seen conductors kind of tear into musicians, you know. So especially if the conductor's having a bad day, they'll make it your fault, you know what I mean? And then it's kind of, which is a bit stink, but it is what it is. Yeah, you can play jazz on this. I really like playing jazz on a nylon string, so like something like this. I've got this part here that goes. You've got to nail that stuff. Like it's not like you almost get it. It won't be accepted when it sounds a little out of tune. As I said, these are new strings, and I find nylon strings just settle in. I can hear a couple of the strings are gripping in the nut too. I need to put some stuff in there. Wanda says yes. String spacing electric makes it too narrow. What was the biggest hurdle for me? Yeah, it is, isn't a thing, eh, right? Like for electric, like it makes sense in some ways, but for other stuff it doesn't make a lot of sense, that the spacing, especially finger picking, you know what I mean? Can you play some jazz on that? Yeah, I'll play a jazz string. You know, with this, I really like playing, if I'm playing nylon string, I really like playing ballads and just using my fingers, no pick. Misty. Yeah, so it sounds real pretty for that stuff, right? Buzzes on this guitar. It's not a very expensive guitar, so you can hear there's one there, a little bit there. And the key to that is if you do get a buzzy note like that's a buzz in the guitar. A fret buzz, just don't pick so hard. See? Aaron said he got invited to try out guitar for a community big band, New Orleans Swing and Jazz. Great, do it, man. That's great. It's a good opportunity to play, and playing in a big band will get you reading and playing different music and stuff, so go for it. I learned so much about playing music by playing in big bands. So John says, I like this music, it's calming. Thanks, John. John, I've never heard the game, but it's pretty cool. It could lead to a paying gig for you. All gigs are paying for me. If I'm not getting paid, I can't do the gig because I got bills to pay. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I've actually thought about doing a video about when you should do gigs for free, because there are some times and situations where you should do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's when it can be a community service, or when it, it's a charity thing, and it's actually a charity thing. You got to watch that, because sometimes it's only the musicians who are giving the charity and no one else, and I'm not into that. There's other times when nobody's making money, so if I play someone's original music, for example, and it's a friend, and they're not making money, I don't expect them to pay me out of their own pocket, and then go broke. No, I'd rather do it for nothing at that point. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, definitely. This gig is getting paid. The orchestras tend to be pretty good like that. They tend to budget for the musicians, and especially the external musicians who are coming in to work with them, like me. Because I do a lot of stuff with these orchestras, but it's not like I'm a salaried member of the orchestra. I'm someone who comes in as a contracted musician. So, and it's funny because I often get asked from young musicians how you get in the door to do that sort of stuff. And the thing is, like, if you go and hustle them and go, give me a gig, it almost never happens, right? Like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone get in touch with them and say, hey, I'm this person and give me a gig. It doesn't really work like that, right? Do good work, get to know the people who are already working there. If there's a guitar player who does that work all the time, then let them know who you are. And not hustle too much, you know what I mean? Like, I hate the whole networking thing that people do. Yeah, it's not me. Gently put it out there that you're available for stuff so that people remember you. But you don't need to be hustling, if you know what I mean. Yeah, and then just do good work. And the thing is, if you do good work, then people will get to know that you're good at that and reliable and that you can do it, and you get more stuff, and that's how it kind of grows. You want to hear some bossa nova? Okay. I'm going to play a tune called... what am I going to play? Let's do Black Orpheus. Can I get that fret? Yeah, so that's Black Orpheus, A Day in the Life of a Fool. It's also called. Cheers, man. Thanks, Aaron. I wish I didn't have my pick so far away, having it over there, then trying to pick it up. And a pick, you know, when you pick up the pick on a weird angle, instead of holding it like I normally hold it, it kind of going like that. And I was trying to play. See if I can remember this. I was showing a student that the other day and kind of could remember, only half remember it. I haven't tried those blue chip picks, Aaron. They're just too expensive. To me, it's getting ridiculous when you're paying. I think I looked at getting one over and it was going to come from Melbourne in Australia. Deluxe Guitars, I think it was. Or Pedal Empire, one of those companies like that. And it was going to be 80 New Zealand dollars before shipping for one pick. And I was like, nah. I mean, I already use like kind of expensive picks as it is. These are what I use most of the time. Prime Tone 0.96. These are really good. I like these a lot. To me, they're probably similar to a blue chip, I'd imagine. And I like the 0.96. It's got a... it's good for rhythm as well as playing light. You know, it's kind of a thinner pick, but it's a thicker material. It's a nice tone, and you can play fast with it if you need to, but you can also, it's like still got enough flex for and kind of size for playing rhythm. I'm on a different camera too, by the way, than my usual setup. Here's my usual setup here. Sony A7 III, 24-105. Usually have it about 35mm ish. Looks quite natural, and then I have a monitor which usually faces towards me, like that. And then I go HDMI out into my computer. But it was all taken down because I filmed some music stuff the other day, competition. So all my cameras are all in pieces, lying around the place. Yeah, but it's all good. Man, I have so many picks around this blooming place. I got a whole drawer full of them here. I even had a bunch made. I don't really even use them. A company in Australia, I think they're custom guitar picks they're called, or something like that. I had them make me some, and you know, they're kind of alright. Hopefully it's going to focus. But it says nickgranville.com, which I no longer have. So I don't really want to use those. And then what else do I have here? Oh, stacks of them, piles of picks. This really cool dude, Vinny, who you might have seen commenting on my channel, and at times Vinny made me a bunch of picks. They're the V picks. There's a clear one, traditional. These are really, really good. That buzz is not the pick, it's me. But these are cool. I got a bunch of them from him. But I mostly use these Dunlop plectras, because they're available. You know, I can get them kind of everywhere, and they're kind of good for me. Like the key to it is not so much the soloing, because I find with most picks I can generally get what I need to do. But I can generally do what I need to do. But the thing is, it's like the rhythm parts. You want a bit of flex in a pick. You don't want it too rigid. And I find that like a lot of the kind of more shreddery type picks, you know, like the small Jazz 3 type picks, but they're really hard materials. Can I show you one? What have I got here that I got a stack of them. They're probably not handy. Like this, for example. One of the Dunlop Jazz type Jazz 3s, you know, the shredder picks. And these are really hard. They're like nice for playing fast. But don't feel that great for playing rhythm. Whereas this just feels great. John says Fractal seem to really deliver sound quality. They do, and there's a bunch of things with Fractal that people don't talk about, right? Like people talk about all these quad cortexes and line 6 helixes and what have you, and they all sound at this stage they all sound pretty good, right? Like none of them are bad. The difference for me is the kind of pro quality in this stuff, and that's the thing, right? Like the neural DSP, you have to have a dedicated power supply for it, which is like a wall wart thing that comes out, and I think it comes into like a jack plug, like maybe, you know, like a Boss pedal type plug, something like that. It might even be their own proprietary one. Now you forget that at a gig and you're screwed, right? And how many of those blooming things do you break? Like I've broken heaps of them. If you have a look over there in the cabinet, I got a lot of those power supply things for different units, and I've taped them together to try and hold them to. It just sucks. So for me, the pro quality, and the only one I'll use with that stuff, is this going to reach? Is that type of connector, IEC, you know, the standard jug cord, because that's what pro equipment uses, right? And all these other ones, unless it's designed to go on a pedal board, then that's cool, right? Like the Helix, is it, or HX Stomp or whatever, you know, you could put that on a pedal board, then it doesn't matter if it's got a Boss connector, because you connect it once and you're done. But any of these other ones that you might unplug and plug in a bunch of times, they've really got to be on that proper connector. Kettle plug, yeah, kettle, you know, like that's the thing. And same with outputs. When they're outputs on jack outputs only, to me that's just dumb. Like the Pro Audio Wheel deals in XLRs, right? So if the unit doesn't have XLR outputs, it's kind of really just showing that it's more of an amateur type designed unit for home use, you know what I mean? And that to me is where Fractal kind of excel, like all those little things. One thing that people don't talk about is the digital to analog conversion, right? Like so often with stuff, you play a guitar through a unit, whatever it is, and the sound, even if everything is off, the sound coming out the other end is different, right? Because it's converted it to digital, it's doing some kind of processing to the signal in the unit, and then it's converting it back to analog to send it out. So you might have everything off, but it's like killing your tone. And that's the thing, like that's one thing that people don't talk about with the Fractal stuff, is the digital to analog conversion is superior to most things that I've experienced. And that's kind of why I use these units, you know, because I mean, I don't have to use this stuff, right? I can use whatever I want at the end of the day. If I wanted to play whatever, I'm going to play it for me, the most important thing is that equipment gets the job done. You know, people talk about these kind of brand loyalties and things like that. You know, sure, fine if you're an endorsed artist and you want to just play one thing. You know, that's fine. But to me, whatever gets the job done, right? And the fractal stuff gets it done. So that's why I've been sticking with it. Aaron says, like that you mentioned Pedal Empire. It's a cool shop. I've been there a bunch of times. I shop there occasionally. They have really great items. Yeah, totally. It's where I got my limited edition Thorpe Dane pedal from. Oh, cool. Those are good, apparently. I haven't tried one myself, but I don't think I've ever seen one in New Zealand. Awesome says medium picks. Yeah, that's kind of where I live most of the time, right? Like medium. I mean, sometimes I think maybe I should just go back to a kind of a harder pick like this, you know, because they are easier for playing single note lines. They don't sound as good though. Yeah, and I still reckon the FM3 is the winner for the fractal units. It's the one I use the most, you know. The FM9 has a lot more options and a lot more switches and stuff like that, but it's bigger, it's bulkier, it's heavier. Most people don't need all that, right? Like, you just don't. Like, I can have 8 scenes on the FM3 and I can access them all quickly. And when do I never need more than 8 scenes, right? Like, one would be clean, the next one would be like a breakup, dirty tone, and I have that on the same switch, so I can toggle between clean and then slight breakup. The next one is a lead tone, right, like a scream and rock kind of tone with delays, and then I have that where I toggle between that and my tremolo sound. I'm sorry, my chorus sound. And then the next one, third button, I have my crunch rhythm kind of sound, Marshall-esque, and then I have my tremolo on the when I hit the button again. And then if I hit button 1 and hold it, it goes to a cleaner kind of rhythm sound. If I hit button 2 and hold it, that takes me to my big delay kind of ambient sound. And then button 3 is the tuner. It's really all you need. You can have external ones off it, and I often do. Like I'll run like a tap tempo or stuff if I need to, but I really love these South African picks called Shark Fin. Yeah, I've heard of those. I remember, and I've tried one actually. Bruce Foreman was using them for a while, and yeah, they're alright. They're not really my kind of thing. I don't know. I find a lot of picks like that, if they're kind of trying to do something new with it, they just, to me, I'm not used to it. But I find like this shape, we're so used to that shape of a pick, right? Even just something different like this, which is more like a Jazz 3, that difference in size, right? Can I do this on camera? See the difference in size? I find that changes how you hold the pick, right? And this, you know, this works really well. These are good. But it's kind of a little bit slippery. And it has a sharper sound, so I'll use it if I want the sharper sound, right? Swedish rather than South African. I thought, never heard of some South African picks before, but you never know. I find that material, whatever this is made of, I don't know what it is, like, and Dunlop need to sponsor me. Come on, Dunlop, send me a bunch of these picks. Or actually, what I'd love most of all is to have a company make me the picks that I want, because these aren't quite exactly what I'd be after. Man, I reckon I could sell them a bunch of them too. It'll be useful for me. Yeah, so just checking out this music and thinking, you know, I'd jump on the live stream because I haven't done a live stream for a minute, and I didn't put out a video this week, if you'd noticed. It just got too busy with all the other stuff on. I taught about 10 or 12 workshops last week. Crazy. And then I also did couple of gigs and things with my band, my blues band, and with Neil. And then I also did some filming on a competition. Like, so it's just been like mental busy, which is why my cameras have been out. And the thing with that filming stuff is, like, it's not just, it's not just the time. I think a lot of people think, oh, you just turn up and film it and then you're done. No. Right? Like, I have to come home and, like, archive that stuff as soon as I get home, because I'm not going to risk losing anything, right? So then you've got, like, at least a few hours of transferring data. I think I got to nearly 500 gigabytes of data from that day's filming. It's like, it's a lot of data to try and figure out and name and move and, what's what and where to put it and blah blah blah. And then I had to organize with the sound guy to get the files for the audio, because he was recording the audio, which I'm going to mix, right? So now I have to go out to his place, which is a half an hour out of town. So I get out there and I drop off some USB drives to him, and then come back home. So that's another half an hour back, and then I go and then I had to go back out there to go and pick it up again, right? And then I've transferred that. So, like, we're talking like 10 hours of work, and I haven't even started the edit yet. So what's more profitable, teaching gigs or studio sessions? Depends who you are. For me, and it depends on a bunch of factors, right? Like, what sort of gigs are you doing, right? If you're doing kind of low-level pub gigs, then definitely more profitable teaching than doing those sort of level of gigs. But I've always taken a kind of longer-term view, and even when I was doing a lot of kind of bar gigs and things like that, when I was starting out, that I took a longer-term view that I wouldn't be doing that stuff forever. Like, that was my way of kind of getting myself out there and into the scene so people knew who I was. And that's cool, like, you got to do that. So to me, it wasn't about the money at that stage of what I was making from those. It was like about the future of it all. But yeah, teaching's probably the easiest way for people to make money, because there's always people that want to learn music, right? Session work, it depends on the level of the sessions you do and how you're established and what you're doing. Like, sometimes I do sessions for not a lot of money. I got one coming up where it's playing on someone's big band album, and I've been putting this one off for ages. And I should just get around to just do it, because I can just do it whenever. Like, they're in no hurry for it. But it only pays $500. The guy's paying $500 out of his own pocket. So, which is cool, like that for a young cat is like in his 20s. No, and when you think about a big band, that's a lot of musicians to play. It's $500 is a stretch for him. So I'm like, man, I'll help you with that. So that's kind of a community thing. Where a commercial thing where I thought, like it was for TV or something like that, or an album which was more popular album or something like that, then the fee's going to change, right? So it depends. It depends is the sorry, that's not more useful. For me, it probably is gigs overall, because I do more gigs than anything else. Although in the last year I've started teaching more. I teach earlier in the week and then gigs in the weekend, and I'm finding, especially now, Wellington's in a bad kind of place. Like, we've been hit pretty hard here with the recession and the government cutbacks on workers and things like that. That Wellington's definitely quieter than it has probably ever been for me with gigs. So I'm finding that the teaching is probably more profitable at the moment. But that'll change, we're going into summer now, and that's when gigs ramp up and there's more stuff, so it's all good. I think, though, if you're looking at music as a means to be making money and be profitable, you might as well not be doing it. You have to do it because you want to do it. To me, it's like, this is all I've ever wanted to do, and it's, I get frustrated with the music industry, like daily I think about quitting music, because I just get sick of the bullshit and sick of the just dealing when people are being assholes, or sometimes just even getting people to pay you. People forget, and it's all good, but it's like, man, it's one of those things, you're like constantly chasing people, and it's like, shouldn't have to do that, but you do, But then, by the same token, like, I'm super lucky to get to do what I do, so I don't take that for granted. And did it take a lot of work to get to this point? Absolutely. But I've never been scared of doing hard work. Thanks for the kind words, Aaron. Cheers, man. Be great to do a lesson with you in person sometime, because we can't play together online. It's the one thing with doing online lessons that I don't like, is that you can't jam with the student. And I think so much of learning of music comes from playing together, and you can sort of influence how they feel the beat and stuff like that. Or you can give a lot of good information, and that's what I usually tend to focus on, but you can't play together, and so yeah, it'd be good to do that. I'm going to have to go in a minute. People have a lot to do today. It's going to be a busy day. But thank you so much for joining me. I just thought I'd jump on here and talk about this show. I guess I'll leave the video up. I wasn't even sure if I was going to do that, but I think I will. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Aaron. Yeah, man. And the thing is, like, it works. That's why I think online lessons don't work for beginners. Like, if someone was a beginner player, I just wouldn't do it. But for someone like yourself who's, done quite a bit of playing, knows quite a bit about music, and wants to take it further, that's when online lessons are perfect, right? Especially if someone's stuck in a rut. And we all get there. Then if you can take an online lesson, someone can kind of inspire new stuff and make you think about things differently, and that's kind of where it's useful. Anyway, I'm going to have to go, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. And I've got the general feedback from people was you wanted a Robin Ford based lesson. I am going to do that, but excuse me, but I don't want to rush it. I want to do a good job of it and put it out and do it properly. So that might be a week away or something like that. Hopefully I can get it this weekend, but I don't think so, because I want to spend some time, have some good backing tracks so that I can demonstrate stuff that feel like that music.